So today, guys, we're going to talk to you about our camper. Hey guys, if we're meeting you for the first time, I'm Mike.
I'm Stephanie.
We are full-time RVers. Steph is a travel nurse, and we've been traveling the country since 2016 and full-time RV living since 2018.
We've been living full-time in our 2018 Grand Design Imagine 2600 RV since June of 2018. We thought we'd take some time and show you what's held up over the years, what's shown some wear and tear, the issues we've had with it after living in it for over 2 years full-time.
So I'm gonna get you started right up front here with our propane system. This is our 4th propane regulator. I've had issues with it leaking before. I had issues with the hoses leaking. Grand Design has been really good about sending me replacement parts for the propane system, but on our 4th one I finally decided to just buy one on Amazon. So this is the propane regulator that I purchased off Amazon. I'm going to be dropping links to that stuff down below for you guys to check out, but just know that I just bought this about a year ago and it has worked out perfectly. So if you guys are looking to replace your propane regulator, I would highly recommend this one right here. The only other issue that we've had up front that I can think of is the rust on this A-frame. Now you'll have rust on any camper, but we have had to spray paint some of the stuff up here to keep the rust off. Hasn't been a huge issue, but you should know that you should anticipate a little bit of rust on any camper. So I've noticed in some of our Grand Design groups that people have complained about their LED strips not working. On the front of our model it has 2 strips on either side here. They've worked out fine for us. We never use them, it's just an aesthetic thing, but you should know that we haven't had any issues with ours. It probably helps that we never turn it on, but you know, that's something that's worth mentioning. So on the side of our camper here we have a quick connect hose, and this runs my griddle that I use to grill. I have had to replace the actual nozzle underneath of it. There again, Grand Design sent me a brand new one. I was just having some issues with it leaking a little bit and I wasn't getting enough pressure with the propane hose. But like I say, Grand Design sent one out to me pretty quickly and it wasn't an issue after that. And our first real problem has been with this outside outlet. We were having issues inside with it leaking on the inside of the camper when it rains too much, and it took us what, a week, maybe more, before we figured out what the issue was. It's just because I didn't caulk enough on the outside outlet, and after I figured out what the issue was, I was able to go buy caulking and I caulked it, and we haven't had any issues with it since then. But you should know that if you're having any issues inside of your camper like that, it may be the outside outlet. So the 2600 RV comes with a quick connect hose. Now when we first purchased this, they had to replace this whole unit because it was leaking. We haven't had any issues since then. But the bumper, the ends of these bumpers come off all the time, and we bought, I think, 2 ends here. I finally bought these covers on Amazon. We haven't had any issues since then. And on the other side, you can actually put your black tank hose on the end of it and it holds it in on a magnet. And they have held out for about a year now. We haven't had to buy any new ones. One other thing that I had issues with on the outside here was some of the black screws were coming off on the trim on the other side of the camper. There again, you're driving several thousand miles and everything's rattling and falling out. You'll probably have some screws fall out.
Some screws loose.
Some screws loose, as Steph says. So we have been very fortunate to not have any issues like a lot of people have had with our tires, stabilizer jacks, and axles. But I do know that some people have had issues with that. This again is the 2018 model, and we haven't had any issues like that.
Alright, so bringing you guys inside. We're going to start with the convenience center. This is where all of our switches are, and we've never had any issues with them. Awning and slide out still work great. All of our switches to turn things on and off. The sensors, I don't think anybody's RV sensors work very well. You can always upgrade these. We've not found that it's really worth it for us. We live in it full time. We kind of know when we need to empty the black tank. The gray tanks doesn't really matter because when we're hooked up, we dump them all the time. The black tank, the trick we found is flush, flush, flush. There's a lot of different tricks you can use to really empty them out. And like I said, there's also options to upgrade the whole sensor system. All right, moving into the bathroom. There's really only been 3 issues, so I'm gonna go small, medium, and large. The mirror on the cabinet door has come off in one corner. It's a really easy fix. We just need to put some silicone there to kind of hold it back in place. Not that big of a deal. Second issue though, this drawer, after one of our trips, I don't know how far we had gone, but it must have been a bumpy road. The entire drawer broke and fell in. Mike fixed that up pretty easy. I freaked out and assumed it was permanently damaged, but it looks totally fine now. The last but not least, the throne. So about a year ago, so about a year into full-time living, suddenly the foot flush just wouldn't work. And when you live full-time in a camper and your campground has no bathrooms, it becomes a bit of an issue. We called Grand Design, we called multiple mobile RV repair people. Basically they're like, yeah, we'll fix it, but it'll take about a week. We're like, we need a potty within the week. So what we ended up doing was just going and buying a new toilet. So if you pay close attention, it's a slightly different color, but it's the exact same model. Mike replaced it and installed it really quickly, no issues since. Me being the person that I am, I put some gloves on and tore the toilet apart to figure out what happened. It was a tiny little hinge, it was like a plastic part that had just broke. There might have been a way to fix that without replacing the whole toilet. We needed the toilet then, so we just replaced the whole thing. One more thing I will mention in the bathroom. I had kind of forgotten about this, but Mike just pointed it out. When we first bought the 2600 RB, we were pretty concerned about the shower door. Most campers that we were familiar with had the glass swinging door, and that's what we thought was normal. This one has actually a plastic sliding door, so it coils in on itself. He didn't think it would hold up. I didn't think it would hold up. 2+ years in, we've had 0 issues. It does need cleaned every now and then, but no issues with it.
So if you're looking to purchase this model, this area behind me may look a lot different to you. That's because we completely renovated this whole area. When we purchased this model, it came with theater seats and the dinette. We decided to take those out, but the theater seats were really nice. The only issue that we had with them was that they would come unplugged from time to time because they had heat and lights on them. But other than that, they were perfectly fine. The dinette, on the other hand, had a few issues. The trim was coming off in some places, the luan was coming off, the leather was cracking in some places, and the cushions were getting very thin. Now we do live in this model full time, so that's bound to happen over time, but that was a bit of an issue that we had before. When we took the dinette out, there was also some mold along the walls. We were able to remove that, but it was kind of an eye-opener for us that there is mold growing behind the dinette. So as your camper gets condensation on the inside, just make sure that you take those cushions off and wipe the walls down as much as possible. So after our renovation project, we put an ottoman and a love seat in and custom built this desk here, and they've held up really well so far. We've had a few screws come off the walls just because of the rattling of the camper on the desk, but other than that, it's held up really well. So knock on wood, hopefully it continues to do so in the future. So during our renovation project, we noticed that the slide was actually sagging. That concerned both of us because we were getting ready to do this renovation project. And not only were we concerned just generally because we live in this full time, but also we were having issues with the desk fitting in properly because it was bowed a little bit. So we talked to the dealer when we did our annual inspection. He said that that was perfectly normal. We also called Grand Design to make sure that that was okay. They said it was perfectly normal as long as there's no issues with the slide coming in and out. It was perfectly fine.
Okay guys, I'm gonna be really quiet for this one so we don't wake up Queen Khaleesi. No, I'm just kidding. She sleeps through everything. But I'm not even gonna go into the bedroom because honestly, knock on wood, we haven't had any issues in there. We had one little piece of trim pop off on my side. Mike nailed it back on, no problem. So hopefully that continues. Moving into the kitchen. A lot of these are just cosmetic, but if you guys can see here, the front of the cabinets, the finish has just started coming off. The kitchen isn't the only place that that's an issue. Honestly, the cabinets in the bathroom and the pantry are kind of like that too. This is just the worst spot. We don't really know why it's been coming off. At first we thought something splashed on it, but it's just continually coming off. We have some stain we're gonna try to repair this with. Mike doesn't really want to, you know, take out all the cabinets and paint them white like super trendy.
No, thank you.
I honestly don't really want to either. We're not decorators, but we're probably just gonna put some stain on that to fix it and it'll look okay. This isn't actually an issue. I just want to mention it because I have a lot of strong feelings about it. I have a hard time lighting the oven. I don't know why. There's a little trick to it and I can try for a half an hour straight and not get it. Mike can come over, do it once and get it. Please say someone else out there has the same issue so I don't feel so ridiculous.
It's really easy, actually.
It's not really easy.
It is. I don't know why you have so much
I get hungry and then I want to light the oven and I can't get it to work. No, but really, we haven't had any issues with it. It's just really irritating to me.
So there are a couple areas under the TV here that we've had some issues with. This cabinet's coming off just a little bit. The cabinet door just needs re-glued. It's just where the glues come undone. Hopefully I don't rip that off. The stereo has been quite a pain. This is our third stereo that I've had to put in. I don't know what the deal is. I assume that it's just this Jensen model. And this is like the standard model in a lot of different campers. And I don't know if anybody else has had issues, but I have had to replace this thing 3 times. This one has actually worked out pretty well. I haven't had too many issues, but there again, it will short out every once in a while. Now we're out of warranty, so it's just not that big of a deal. So that pretty much wraps things up on the inside. There again, pretty much mostly cosmetic things. The toilet did need replaced. That was kind of an issue. And the dinette kind of being janky and having mold on the wall, that was not a pleasant thing for us either. But we have been very fortunate, especially with this camper, to not have any major issues. So there you have it. Over 2 years and 10,000 miles later, our camper's held up pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah, nothing, I'm so scared to say this.
Yeah.
Nothing major. I'm putting it out there.
After doing this video and realizing that, I don't know if we want to release this really.
But you didn't hear us talk about the AC, the refrigerator, the microwave, the water heater, the heating system, any of the ducts, because knock on wood.
We haven't had any issues with them.
I think that we got like a midweek camper.
A Wednesday camper?
A Wednesday camper. When we bought it, our sales guy said you don't want a Monday camper and you don't want a Friday camper because if it's built on a Monday, no one wants to be there. If it's built on a Friday, everybody's ready to go home. So.
We've been very fortunate. We would definitely recommend this brand to anybody that we know. We've had a really great experience with it.
Yeah. And honestly, the customer service, like how many times have they replaced things for us that they didn't really have to?
Yeah.
It's been great. We've been very fortunate. If y'all are looking into the 2600 RB, we have a full walkthrough video of that as well.
I'll put that right here on the screen, but I'm not going to point to which corner because I keep forgetting which one it is. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing and follow along with our little adventure.
And we will see you guys next time. Have I been too funny? Do I do all the jokes and you do none? You're like, oh no, that's not what he said!
I don't talk like that at all. And we're gonna do this one more time.
Yep. Girl!
That's that hawk up there. I don't like saying that. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna do it.